You cannot be here. My contract stipulates that this lab door remains locked at all times. I am not to be disturbed. Ha! That's funny, considering the heaps of times I've been called such.
I'm here to tell you that your treacherous fiend of a boss is now out of commission, and I'm investigating all of his indiscretions. You wouldn't happen to know about any unsanctioned business dealings, would you?
I'm afraid I can't help with that. I've only spoken with him once, upon my hiring. Well, yes, but not here or face to face. I was to have all communications sent to a private room at the Best Choice. He held all his business dealings and records therein. I gather he was circumventing intellectual property taxes or some such.
The Best Choice. That's the lounge for VIPs, looking out over the Esplanade, if I'm remembering right. We might pay it a visit.
This is actually an experimental operation with high import. Do pay it some respect, will you? And close the door when you leave.
Yes, I understand I may look in charge, but I'm just minding the desk for our esteemed director. The real talent, as they say.
I need to get a message on the broadcast, urgently. Can you help with that?
Not unless you need any clever pointers on enunciation. Our director, however, is in one of the recording booths, through the door to your left. You'll want to speak with her.
Welcome to Wireless Free Arcadia Studios. Thessaly Falk, Director of Talent Placation and General Runnings. Here to contract a recording or in the market for autographs?
Holt sent me to speak with you. I got a message I'd like to send out over the wireless. Trust me, this is one all the folk in Auntie's Choice won't want to miss.
Is that so? Well, the more riveting the content, the larger our commissions. However, as you're without an appointment and I'm quite busy, I'm afraid I've only time to record one take. Do make it count. Shall we begin?
Glad we're in agreement. I'm here to expose the truth about a prominent vice president. His business dealings are not what they seem.
That's quite the bold claim. Now remember to speak into the mic, dear. Enunciate clearly but with feeling. Inhabit the words. Be the message. Joining us today in the studio is a very special guest and rare specimen indeed, a grafted soldier. And one who alleges that one of Auntie's own vice presidents is not who he seems. Take it away.
Inez Seelong speaking. I got intel on an illegal program led by Vice President of Experimental Operations, Willard Conan. Folk aplenty suffered because of it.
Some say there cannot be success without suffering. It's more or less standard operating procedure, isn't it? Unless you're leaving out any gory details. Some within our organization might call that frugal, thrifty even. That is, why waste a perfectly good resource when no one else has use for it?
These are human beings I'm speaking of, not barrels of void damn uranium. They were good folk who didn't know what they were signing up for. They deserved better. But if that ain't incriminating enough for you, Willard had himself some money problems, which ain't too distant from a grave sin far as Auntie's concerned.
Now we're getting somewhere. Tell me, did he squander all his bits on drink? Bet it all on a tarmac and cheese rebranding? Or worse? Thoroughly recount every lurid detail?
He stole from Auntie directly. I have here, in his own words, an admission to the crime. It's go-getterness gone too far. And you know what happens to one of Auntie's nephews who misbehaves?
Splendiferous! Couldn't hardly get more sensational than that if we tried. The audience will be on the edge of their seat hearing all the ghastly minutiae about this scandal.
I think we did it. Won't know for sure until the broadcast airs, of course, but law, I reckon I might finally be able to put this to rest. For Ortiz. For everyone. Thank you, Commander.
Oh, Inez, almost forgot. We have a bit of a goodie bag for special guests who visit the studio. You qualify. Do collect it from the front desk on your way out.
Commander, you hear my interview over the wireless too? They've been playing it every hour. Part of it, anyway. Seems all the evidence we brought Thessaly made an impression. Other VPs are fearing for their jobs now. Can you imagine? Reckon nobody will touch Willard's work now. Definitely. I'd bet a post-mortem on Willard's activities is being drafted as we speak. Few are keen to repeat the same mistakes as someone trotted out as a cautionary tale. If I ain't said it recently, then let me say it again. Thank you. I don't think I could have done right by Ortiz all on my own. Nobody has to be hurt like he was again. Reckon I'll find a way to look after the other grafted soldiers out there. It's what Ortiz would have wanted, and what he deserved. But all that'll come after we save Arcadia. You know, it's hard to fathom that just months ago I spent so much lawdamn time begging to be accepted, like I was worth only what other folk thought of me. I was so lost. I really believed when I ended my contract that a better life was possible. I know the truth about Auntie's choice now, and I know who I am. So yeah, a better life is possible, just not at someone else's mercy. I ain't gonna let myself or anyone else be led into the same trap they set for us, ever again. I will, Commander. Anyhow, that's enough sorting my thoughts for the moment. We got a galaxy to save.
Let's pinpoint what you and I can accomplish for the Order. I shall allow myself a moment of relief. Moment passed. I'd hoped killing the cultists was its own reward. But you may also take this. You've proven yourself well, but we have recently experienced a pivotally important, unforeseen development. One I must meet directly. Can I count on you? You've given me reasonable doubt that you will kill the presiding bishop on sight. But this task takes precedence over all else. If you care for the Order, you will see it through. One of the satellites comprising the Hyperion Web was struck by a wayward craft and crashed on Paradise Island. I need someone to recover an informational component from it. The Web is an Order-crafted network of information collection satellites. Our would-be Protectorate overlords squandered them as glorified surveillance devices. We actually implanted a backdoor in the Web to bring it back under our control, should a circumstance like this arise. But we did not foresee certain Protectorate modifications. But let's not speak of that. Find a way past the Protectorate at the crash site, collect the data, and return it here. Violence is likely, but perhaps you'll find an alternative. Only theoretically. The Protectorate guarding the site will be anything but welcoming. You'd likely need to find something, or someone, to wrest their attention away from you. I cannot say how that might be accomplished, unfortunately. Some of our scholars find answers to their solutions at the CAF integration point. Perhaps you might do the same. Collect the data from the crashed site and return it here. May the odds prevail against your bloody demise.
Those fools! Protectorate subjects should know better than to attack a Protectorate arbiter. I had no choice but to judge them as traitors to the Protectorate. Why would they simply open fire? Why wouldn't they attempt to conversate? Then they should have reported me to their superiors rather than attempting to exact justice themselves. I shall continue to answer slights of this nature through violence, but hopefully I shall not need to do this more than a few times.
If you mean to ally with the Order, reckon I can't blame you. You and I could only exert so much influence over Auntie's choice. And it's obvious they can't help themselves. More importantly, it's becoming clear to me that folk don't actually want us here. Westport resisted as long as they could. You think that doesn't extend to the rest of the populace? There is another option. The Order. They're trying to do right by the refugees, after all, and seem reasonable when they ain't being strong-armed by extremists. You could consider them. Transition of power will be smoother anyway, if this war's anything to go by. I'm glad you're considering it. Listen, normally I'd take issue with one person playing Kingmaker. That is to say, you, and especially the Earth Directorate. But time's too short, and the stakes are too high for tribalism. There'll be enough time for that later. For now, we need to ally with someone who can defeat the Protectorate and close the rifts. So whatever you decide, I'll support you. We should move on, unless you've got something for me? That poor Amos fella's a bit of an open book, ain't he? He's been through too much. Hearing how Auntie abandoned him the second she got power shouldn't surprise me, but it does. I don't know how he can stay loyal to her after all this time. He's still on the bottom rung with no reward in sight. What's in your heart don't matter at all, does it? Fine by me.
I look forward to the reclamation of the Hyperion web. Hopefully you shall facilitate that. Now, how might we be of use to one another? Yes! Excellent! Take that, reductionists! Your horrid little surveillance devices shall finally be used for what their purpose should have been! Don't tell anyone about that outburst, please. Here's something to keep you quiet. Yes, you've earned not only my trust, but the Order's as well. I hope you'll continue working with us in the future. I've informed the presiding bishop you're coming to speak with her. She can be found in the room off the main stairwell. I'm sure I don't need to say this. But if you even think about bringing harm to Ruth, I shall know. Be on your very, very best behavior.
The Order has always proclaimed patience as a virtue, but I am pleased my waiting is finally at its endpoint. For so long, you have only existed as numerical values on a chart, a bright star in a constellation of possibilities, as it were. Now, with your arrival, the Order nears the totality of its goals, provided you are willing to stay aligned with our cause. Prudent. Now then, I gather you already know who I am, but science has shown that good manners strengthen developing relationships by 5.3%. So, allow me to introduce myself. I am Ruth Bassar, third presiding bishop of the Order of the Ascendant, supreme calculator, and, plan willing, the architect of Arcadia's prosperous future. My sensory deprivation chamber. I spend the majority of my days closed inside the silence, dulling myself against the tedious excesses of the body and mind. Want no longer factors into my decisions, but I can see how that might confuse one of such spirited bearing. I am using the chamber to prepare for a test of significant endurance. I think it best to leave the discussion there for now. I admit, when I sent my initial message, I did not exactly know who its recipient would be, but I trusted the plan, and lo and behold, it provided you as the solution. Your recent exploits at Greater Tranquility Station have certainly made for compelling reading material. Confronting an assassin, and thereby sparing the delegates' lives before the rift inexplicably destroyed the station? Such a commendable effort is worthy of acknowledgement. If your actions were so easily imitable, then we would not be speaking right now. Accept the credit. However, there's something of even greater import we must discuss. It's recently come to my attention that secret communications have been exchanged between Laplace's garden and the undisputed claim. Do you know anything about that? I should have known. Vicar Levin has made this appeal to me at least thrice since his return. He really cannot accept a solution he did not devise. Yes. Perhaps this is a fine opportunity to curve death's grim median. I will put the question to you one final time. Are you certain you would rather pursue this path than work exclusively with the Order? There will be no future option to reconsider. Then I will endeavor to bring that vision to fruition, if the plan wills it. A true in-person meeting between myself and Auntie could never take place due to the security risks. But perhaps a remote conference could be a viable alternative. The odds of you persuading Auntie Cleo to agree are unfavorable, but the math does improve if you have greater standing within her corporation. Once you have met with Auntie, instruct her to send me a communique. We can finesse the details of a conference then. My time is yours, for the moment. Oh, the Laureate Council simply draws a name out of a hat. No? Go figure. In reality, I was recommended for my position by the preceding bishop. Paired with my skills as a seer, I was the natural choice when it came time for the council to vote. Thank you for that charitable assessment. My predecessor, Presiding Bishop Orlo, and I had a close working relationship. He knew I possessed the skills and temperament for the role. I counted him a friend. Orlo shared with me his doubts about the Order's partnership with the Protectorate, the compromises made. He had many such regrets at the end of his life. Likely not. But it is the responsibility of every student to surpass their mentor in understanding and sentiment. And I can reliably assert that I have done that. Call it proof of concept. Laplace's garden is more than its aesthetic. It offers a vision of a future free from the despotic rule of narrow-minded jingoists, where the fruit of the plan can finally ripen. It saddens me to see the garden so despoiled by our wartime presence. But with the loss of Spirton, necessity dictated we quarter here in the interim.
Short-range transmission just came in from Zeb. Sounded urgent. He's requesting we meet him at the tomb of the Matriarch, here on Praetor. It's where the Matriarch and First Sovereign are buried, supposedly. Zeb left out the mission parameters, probably worried his message might be intercepted. Not unfounded, given the Protectorate presence on Praetor. He did say he'd reach out to us again if he needed help. Reckon we should take it as a compliment. Zeb doesn't trust easy. Anyway, I'd really like to go, if there's time. Much obliged. The sooner we can rendezvous at the tomb, the better. Got the sense that whatever's going down, it's happening now.
Your arrival cannot be more timely. After the events of Paradise Island, I could think of no one more suited to conduct a surgical strike of this nature. I'm, glad to see you again as well, Niles.
Gotta say you had me worried. The message you sent sounded serious.
Then I composed it accurately. To the task at hand. We are standing before the tomb of the Matriarch. Few are invited to tour its halls, and even fewer know of its greatest secret. For any subject, visiting the Matriarch and First Sovereign's resting place is the pinnacle of empty social achievement. But the tomb's corpses are its least important feature. The intelligence my friends risked all to acquire revealed a vault in its lowest level containing the Matriarch's body of work, hidden from the public. Who knows what technologies the Protectorate is withholding? If the Matriarch was the genius she's purported to be, the skip drive cannot be the entirety of her inventions. We'll certainly face more resistance inside, but rest assured, I'm prepared for the majority of the complications we might encounter. Whatever technological advancements may be sequestered here, the goal is almost certainly to keep the populace of Arcadia subservient to the pernicious whims of its governing body. But not for much longer. We are going to liberate any and all of the Matriarch's research, whatever it may be, and distribute it to the people. The time for considering risk is past. We cannot afford to be timid when battling giants. Besides, now I have 2 Earth Directorate agents to assist me. What could go wrong?
I can see a half-dozen points of failure, but bad odds ain't ever stopped us before.
Glad we're operating under the same understanding. We're unlikely to have another chance like this. We must follow through now that we've made the opening. Which also means, once inside, we cannot leave until it's done.
There's no one else left. Consul made damn sure of that.
The failure at the Vox, an escaped prisoner, cannot be tolerated. The Consul ordered a colony-wide search that netted the rest of our cell. Audra blames herself, even though she shouldn't.
Don't tell me how to feel, Zeb. You mind your guilt, I'll mind mine.
what the commander said. We thought we were doing the right thing.
I will not pretend it isn't a blow, but what's done is done. There will be time to grieve once the Protectorate is dead and buried. Slim chance of that. I'll not assign a task to others that I'm unwilling to undertake myself.
Color me surprised.
Must you? We are on the precipice here, and I shouldn't have to tell you what awaits us if we fail.
Ah, I see you have come armed. Intruders, then. I suppose you intend to extract my surrender through means most lurid and foul.
Damn, the head curator. I had hoped to slip in before his shift, but no matter. We cannot allow him to leave and raise the alarm. He must be dispatched, quickly.
How's that now?
Now hold on. I know we had to kill that fella with the Sentinel, but this man's unarmed. He's already surrendered.
I rather think that line has some blurry distinction.
How much of a fuss could this one fella cause, really? Come on, Zeb. No need to cut any bellies over maybes and ifs.
Please, if secrecy's your concern, you may rely upon me to be the utmost spirit of discretion. I have never betrayed a confidence in my life.
Allowing him to leave would be a grave error of mercy, one we can ill afford in this place.
If we start gunning down civilians, where does it end, Zeb? Ain't Arcadia covered in enough blood?
You need me to clear that moral obstruction for you? Fine. This man is an instrument of empire, perpetuating the tyrant's lies. And were our positions reversed, he would not hesitate to execute us, or worse, send us to mental refreshment.
I'm kin to the risks, Zeb.
Are you? Can you even fathom the indignity of having your every thought scrutinized and scored and made perfect? My sister was made into a shadow. I endured daily sessions with the lathe of particularity and still find myself policing my own mind for untoward proclivities and inclinations.
The commander's right. This man didn't put you in the lathe, Zeb. He's just trapped in the system, same as everyone else.
I never have possessed immunity against your pleading. Fine, you're free to leave. Do not repay this kindness with treachery.
You are merciful and wise. I will depart at once.
Let's hope the consequences of this decision do not assert themselves while we're still here. You and Niall should turn off the power to the security barrier and make your way to the vault. I'll remain here and guide you as best I can through the labyrinth. No turning back now.
Have a look, Commander. With a little elbow grease and some inadvisable engineering, reckon I can finagle these components into a fine explosive gel. Who knows? Could come in handy. Knew that'd pique your interest. Let's keep on. I'll continue tinkering on this in the meantime, see what I can come up with. Does Zeb seem a little off to you, Commander? I think he's starting to worry me. That business with the curator. I'm glad Zeb stood down, but it was close. Never seen him so eager for bloodletting before. He's changed. Ain't sure for the better. I'll be damned if I go down the same path as DeVries. Some ideals are worth fighting to keep, even if it means taking the long way round to winning. Well, no use stewing. We've still got a vault to break into and tyrannical government to topple. Remember those components I found? I was able to turn them into something halfway useful after all. This gel should get us through that vault door. You take the honors, Commander. I'll be right behind you.
I knew the Protectorate festered with lies, but I had no idea the Earth Directorate was complicit. Niles, did you know?
Slow up, Zeb. What are you talking about?
It says your agency struck an agreement with the Matriarch over a century ago. In exchange for skip drives, Arcadia was allowed to completely govern itself with absolutely no outside interference, including from the Earth Directorate.
Must be why the chief said we'd be on our own if we were caught. We were breaking the terms of this agreement. Unbelievable.
If this information is true, then the Earth Directorate permitted the Matriarch to create a colony filled with her vassals, enslaved to her will. Everything Arcadia is, all of the suffering that's taken place here, it all could have been avoided. things could have been different. There's more. The skip drive schematics are here. How the explosive safeguards against tampering work, its evolution over time. But no original concepts, no sketches. Nothing. Our dear matriarch is a fraud, a cheat. She did not invent the skip drive. There are messages here between her and the First Sovereign that all but confirm it.
Rather a convenient revelation for an enemy of all the Protectorate stands for. Pardon me if I choose to remove myself from this mad conversation.
I thought I might find some technological innovation that could be handed to the Protectorate's enemies. But this is almost better. By releasing this information, we can thoroughly crush the image the Protectorate has been built upon. The Sovereign will be revealed as the unclothed emperor he is, and demolish Arcadia's myth of superiority. If we administer truth to the people, their strength will return. Erstwhile, giving the skip drive designs to the Protectorate's enemies will even the fight. Their technological prowess will be made into nothing. Everything will come apart.
Downsides like how the skip drives are causing rifts? Yeah, I say that's worth a fret. Not to mention how this agreement with the Protectorate will completely destroy the Earth Directorate's reputation.
I was not aware of such a connection between rifts and the skip drives. But I have confidence the Order will figure out a solution. Science is their theater, after all. As for the Earth Directorate, don't you see? This frees them from any obligation to the Protectorate. They'll be able to manufacture skip drives themselves. The deal will be voided.
It's worth holding the Earth Directorate's feet to the fire for this deal, but I don't think the entire organization should be judged by its worst decision. It's done a lot of good, too. Plus, making the skip drive tech available, that's like throwing a lit match into a fuel converter. Can't think of a worse idea right now.
Do you think the Protectorate stand around debating the potential for injury? No. They act, and so must we. Damn the consequences. Very well. I suppose you've earned your organization some grace.
Still ain't sure about loosening the skip drive designs, but we've got some time there. Until the rift is fixed, no one's going anywhere using one. Not unless they have a death wish. And this way, at least the Earth Directorate's reputation will stay intact too.
Whatever happens next, the Protectorate won't survive it. That's all that matters. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. I had my doubts, but you truly delivered. I'll remain a while longer and make sure to grab everything off the data banks.
Guess this is goodbye.
Only for now. If we both come out of this war intact, I'll find you. If you wish to be found, of course.
I want to talk it over with the commander, but yeah, maybe we can work something out. Don't even know where to start with everything that happened in there. Reckon the information about the matriarch and the skip drive will stir up some fervor, but Zeb was right. The people deserve to know the truth. Well, most of it. I'm glad we were able to leave the Earth Director's name off the record. Deep down, I'm still convinced the galaxy is better with the Earth Directorate in it, flawed as it is. But what happened with Arcadia can never be allowed to happen again. Something has to change within the Directorate, and I think we're best positioned to see that reformation through. Right, even if the form it takes is that of the agency itself. All said, I appreciate you giving me the space to work through this. Sort of feels like the future's opening back up after a long time closed. Figured that for a given. Let's, get back to it before I say more and embarrass myself outright.
Best turn around. Central controls and... Wait. Orbit around? What are you doing here? I've heard a great deal regarding your exploits within the Protectorate, and it is all that prevents me from summoning the Guard. I've strict orders to arrest you on sight.
I've no desire to slay you, but if you seek to prevent me from pursuing my duties, I will have no other choice.
Arbiter Rao did not report to the Consul's summons. Consequently, he is wanted for questioning. It is only our difference in rank that stays my hand from attempting arrest. Very well. I shall not sound the alarm. But you are still not permitted to enter this facility either through this entry or any side route. I shall be watching.
Commander, let us speak privately on our next course of action. I did not care for that exchange at all. The idea that the Consul would stymie me individually is rather disturbing. Regardless, we do have alternate means of ingress. I seem to recall a number of creatures bypassing the left fence through some upper path we were never able to find. There's also the prisoner entrance on the right. If you're sufficiently dexterous, you may be able to bypass the safeguards to get us in.
Consul Thoreau, I'm sure you're surprised to be receiving this message, and thus I can assume you already know my intent. Even considering aligning myself against the Sovereign is like sticking my hand in boiling oil. Yet my dead charges spur me forward. 10 scores of Arcadia's finest, at least 10 scores, died in defense of Golden Ridge. And does the region lie in our control? No. We fled like sprats, all at Varric's behest. I shall lower myself to work with you, Consul. I will help you uphold your plan to... Hold... What in blazes? How long have you been standing there? What did you hear?
I cannot believe what I heard. I cannot. Actually, it wasn't. Perhaps at first, until I discerned her true intentions. My mentor hated the Consul and was deeply devoted to the Sovereign. She'd never speak thus, unless she was trying to lure the Consul into a trap.
There's a simpler explanation here, Tristan. You're just refusing to see it.
What I'm proposing is eminently plausible. It may be beyond you to see her machinations, but it's obvious to me that this was merely an intricate play. It's all that makes sense. It's not obvious to me. You didn't know her. Wait, do you hear that?
Arbiter Rao, I finally got you. Submit quietly to the Protectorate's justice for your manifold transgressions.
Are you insane? Who are you? And on whose authority do you claim to judge me?
My name is Junior Arbiter Mayhall, and I operate on Arbiter Mandate, as you did once. Now, no questions. This is already going to be difficult enough.
It's logical. The Sentinels have all but taken over central control. It stands to reason the few Arbiters still trained here would only be Sentinels in armored regalia.
I cannot deny that central control has changed, but... what am I saying? I need not defend myself from the likes of you.
Enough! This has been an unpleasant day and my patience is gone. Your accusations are baseless and accosting a higher-ranked Arbiter is grounds for arbitration.
They're far from baseless. You stand accused of abandoning your post, of infiltrating Protectorate facilities with opaque aims, and of hampering the Protectorate war effort. There's no discussion to be had with criminals. I needed to see firsthand that Arbiter Rao had abandoned his station. He has, and must meet my judgment.
These accusations of yours are slander. If you believe false bravado shall save you from my wrath, you're sorely mistaken. At Oculus, and again at the Vox, you showed me that the law may be interpreted. Clemency can be granted where before it would be unthinkable. Here my sense of duty clamors to be answered. But as much as it surprises me to admit it, I think you're correct. To this recruit, I've diverged from the path of righteousness. Slaying her for sincerely trying to do what is right would be a farce of justice. I would not, but I know the reality of swaying an Arbiter from their chosen path. It's likely this situation may devolve into violence regardless.
What is is this insanity? I would never imagine an Arbiter balking from their chosen course. I had hoped Arbiter Rao would come to his senses, but obviously to no avail. I may not wish to judge him. I may not understand what has come over him. It is of no consequence. His crimes against the Protectorate are all that matters.
He was simply doing his duty, just as you or I must every day. Killing him would have been wrong, even though attempting to arrest me was a criminal act.
That's even worse than I thought. You chose not to do your duty, and expect telling me so would soften my decision to judge you?
The Supreme Arbiter taught me to follow my own sense of justice, and I have. Use your mind. Think about what I did, what you intend to do. Is this moral? Is this right?
But it is of no consequence. I must... Architect's mercy. I'm just not sure.
We don't know that for certain, but to an onlooker, without our knowledge, it could seem that way. And such presumed traitorousness would be very confusing.
Even the Supreme Arbiter has struggled with this? That doesn't seem possible. But I suppose there's no way to ask her now. I shall trust your words. Consider my hand stayed. I can see that judging Tristan would only rob the Protectorate of another of its servants. It seems I must reflect on this matter.
It would appear we're in agreement. Neither of us shall raise a hand against the other. I'm pleased.
Guess a candidate can change his spots. Sometimes.
So, what course of action do we take now?
It's important for an Arbiter to use their forebrain. Next time you encounter something as strange as a loyal Arbiter diverging from the path of righteousness, investigate. You may find more questions than answers. But deciphering them and interpreting justice as best we can is how we might serve Arcadia.
Uphold justice in my way. I'll attempt to remember that, Arbiter Rao. Thank you.
Glory to the Protectorate, Junior Arbiter. Make me proud. I'm pleased we were able to resolve that altercation peaceably. Robbing Arcadia of an enthusiastic recruit would have given me little joy.
You're showing a lot more restraint these days than I'd expect. Mayhall's right to look up to you.
You know, I'd even venture to say she reminded me just a little of myself as a lad. I assure you, I was once there. Any Arbiter of note must build their character on a foundation of enthusiasm. All this excitement did not make me forget the confession on the Supreme Arbiter's terminal. I have to bring it to Virgil. Together, we can discover exactly what transpired. Have you lived all your life within the Protectorate? No. What do you know about what makes an Arbiter? I refuse to question the Supreme Arbiter, just as I refuse to cast every belief I hold dear into the mud. Push me no more. Virgil will know what to make of this. Together we'll figure out what to do. I'll message him when we return to the ship. Hopefully he shall respond. Quickly.
Did you need me for something? Favorite agent, huh? High praise with all that competition in the rankings. Maybe. I haven't come first on anyone's list in a long while. Maybe ever. Oh, shit! Fuck! It's okay. I'm alright. Just phantom pangs. Beg pardon for the fright. I have good days and bad, pain-wise. Today's... the latter. No, why would you? Got good enough at hiding it. Even Val can't always tell. Everything's fine. Really. I'm just resting up. Running about causes all sorts of aches and pains. Some realer than others. Don't worry, though. I'll be ready when you need me. Ironically, it's sitting or standing still that hurts most. All the fluids sort of... pool. Val's program for first aid and triage. Long-term physical therapeutical assistance is a little outside her purview. Though she does try, bless her motors. My stump shrinker here helps. Reduces swelling and gets the blood back to the heart when I'm not moving. Won't say it's the most comfortable thing to wear, but it gets the job done. I appreciate that, but in truth, ain't much you could have done, really. Not early on, anyway. Took some time for me to regain my balance and learn how to shift with the prosthetic. Won't lie, it was discouraging at first. Felt like I'd never be at home in my body again. I told you about Zeb and I fighting the good fight against the Protectorate. It was mostly that, trying to help people where I could. Oh, and I continued following orders to watch the colony, sent reports back, requested extraction on a number of occasions, got denied each time. That's putting it lightly. It was a lesson in patience, that's for sure. I also thought, at least in those first few years, that you might be out there somewhere too. That maybe, against all odds, you survived. Kept me going, that hope. Wait, Commander. Before you head off, how are you faring? I was thinking to myself just now, here you are checking in on me, but you must be feeling some kind of way about all of this too. Waking up 10 years from the time you knew, in a hostile colony at war, and with apocalypse on the horizon? Wonder why that is. I won't pry any further, but if you ever need to talk, or if you have a sudden, burning desire to learn about, I don't know, fuselage maintenance, I'll be here.
So, Dagmar didn't betray us to the Sentinels. She is a Sentinel, with a fucking office here in Central Control. It's enough to make one take leave of their sanity.
Good thing you didn't start with much, then.
I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. Fortunately, there's an easy solution to Dagmar's betrayal, one which involves removing her head from her body. Or maybe we should start with the disemboweling? So many choices.
I suppose congratulations are in order for having dispatched so many Sentinels. Can't rightly say I'm surprised, what with your knack for wanton violence. But still, impressive. And let's not forget that I was the one who gave Azahelia Leitinger a purpose and fulfillment. Look at how much fun you've had. Let's not be hasty. I mean, can it even be a betrayal if it was always lies? I had no choice. Aza, you were the perfect candidate when the Consul tasked me to start the Dawn.
What are you talking about? There were cultists before me.
No, there were not. The fiction of a cult was born out of the need to convince the Sovereign to return to the true spirit of the Protectorate. The Consul feared he was too weak.
Dagmar, all this can't be right. How can you spout such lies? Our cause is righteous. It has to be.
As much as I'd prefer to not anger you, I must say your willful ignorance is still a thing to behold. You were always so willing to accept even the most specious of arguments. I can only hope your luck has run its course and the remaining Sentinels are able to put you down. Your death would put me back in the Consul's good graces. Goodbye, Azza.
No, that's too quick. What about... No, not painful enough. Yes, that's it. I just need to find a piece of heat-conducting metal and something to peel the skin effectively. Really? Oh, but I so want to kill her. Okay, I'll keep my torture plans to myself. For now.
You're still alive! Now, let's not be too hasty here. You seem a rational person. There must be something we can do to resolve this peacefully. Please don't let Azza get her hands on me.
Why are you talking to them, Dagmar? I'm the one you must answer to. So start talking. Tell me why. Why did you do this? To me?
Why? I'm a loyal subject to the True Protectorate. What other reason is there? When the Consul tasked me to help save the colony, I did not even think to ask why. And you were an obvious choice. So lost, so dead inside. But then you went berserk. I never could have imagined how you'd take to the killing and mayhem. You brought me great praise from the Consul. Until you started asking questions and killing the wrong people. The Consul feared that the Sovereign wasn't up to the task he inherited. He actually believed the subjects no longer needed such a firm guiding hand. So the Consul set to creating a challenge for the Sovereign to rise to make manifest the hidden dangers he refused to see. It began with labeling political subversives members of a fictitious cult. When that didn't work, the Consul enlisted me to make the Glorious Dawn a reality.
That means your death will be quick. Well, quicker than it would have been. What? What are you trying to say? That I can't go back to that gray life. I won't. Why did I ever listen to you and all your questions in the first place? I feel like I don't know anything anymore.
It was all lies, obviously. I never ceased to be amazed by your dedication to the Dawn's theology, Azahelia. Dismissing hard evidence like that? I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. It took you long enough to start questioning the fact that the Dawn always seemed to be being sent to places that benefited the Consul politically. Not to mention they were forbidden from throwing themselves into their beloved rifts unless given specific instructions to do so. Couldn't have them all just killing themselves.
Yes. More than enough, actually. I'd gone too far to admit it. Until the end, when I could no longer completely ignore the dissonance in my head. It's lies. All of it. Get out of here, Dagmar. Before I change my mind.
Yes, well, can I just grab my... no, I suppose not. I'll show myself out.
What do I do now? I know that, but thank you for saying so. I meant, what should I do about the unhinged members of the Glorious Dawn? Without a leader, they could be even more dangerous. We may need to do some killing. You know, for old time's sake. I can send out a general message from here. I'll need to concoct some plausible theory to sell them on, though. Can't simply tell them to abandon their beliefs and just be good. How about this? I'll spout some vague new discoveries about the plan that demand we align our intentions with perfection before the rifts will accept us into paradise, or some such nonsense. That should work, though I suspect a fair amount will simply just jump into the closest rift. I'm sure there will be some that ignore the message completely, though. Enough to keep my knife skills up, at least.
Subjects, listen well. Days ago, our beloved sovereign, in his infinite wisdom, submitted himself to mental refreshment to strengthen his resolve for the good of all. At his command, I, Emery Thoreau, now accept the responsibility of shepherding you through these dark times until our sovereign's blessed return. I shall not take this duty lightly, for I address you today not as the consul, nor even as your new leader, which I am, but as a simple man who wants nothing more than to defend his home and his neighbors.
I know how this looks, but I can assure you I have leave to look into... Oh, you're not security. Then you must be responsible for all the commotion I heard just now. For both our sakes, I think it best if we continue as we were. I will forget I saw you as long as you extend me the same courtesy. I was looking for proof, if you must know. There was an incident recently, and I believe our head of security is neglecting his duty to investigate. Albin Valancourt is the sentinel charged with supervising this facility and all its researchers. Unfortunately, he's a punitive man who delights in the wretchedness of others. I'd grasp a live rod if I could pass its current to him. Although, unless you have unusual license to be here, his odds of keeping head and body united diminish by the second.
I may not be as partial to violence as I once was, but I'd be happy to make an exception in this case if you'd like, Commander. Well, you know where to find me should you change your mind.
Do I know you? Your voice sounds strikingly familiar.
I don't think... I mean, definitely not. You must be mistaken.
Well, your assistant seems spirited. But do not mistake me. I only want the appropriate measures to be taken in response to what appears to be a significant security breach. Unless your lamps have oxidized, you must have noticed my arm. I lost it saving the Sovereign from a rift experiment gone wrong. An experiment I was in charge of. Naturally. Valancourt supplied my name for the reports, incriminating me in the eyes of my colleagues. And since he's closed off that wing of the lab, I can't prove my innocence. Coincidence is not causation, I know. But with recent events being what they are, it's difficult not to draw certain unpalatable theories beyond mere incompetence. Sabotage comes foremost to mind, though the perpetrator and purpose remain a mystery. If only Valancourt was not at permanent cross-purposes with me. Suspects? I only began this cerebration mere minutes ago. Until today, assuming one of my staff held malice aforethought toward the Sovereign would have been inconceivable. I should have known you were here for the prototype. But for what ill-begotten purpose, I wonder? If that is true, then your goals and mine may be in closer alignment than I thought. Everything is turning base over apex today. Even though we have expanded our efforts beyond the modulator's use, Valancourt would still pay for such a theft. And I'll need it to reopen the rift in the closed-off wing. I couldn't possibly rely on an outsider to help me conduct an investigation, could I? No, that would be outrageous, unthinkable. Except, whatever the cause of the incident, it is my duty as a law-abiding Protectorate subject to gather proof and uncover its cause. Really, Valancourt is forcing my hand here. That is privileged information. Some things I cannot divulge, even under pain of death. This is one of them. All I can say is that the prototype is just that. A proof of concept rendered in miniature. Back to the topic at hand. Do we have an accord? Or do you intend to make further errors in judgment by rejecting my help? The prototype rift modulator is currently in Interstitial Hall at the top of Exhibition Tower. There's a lift in the next room over that can take you directly there. Once you have the prototype, make your way to Valancourt's quarters. He should have a spare key card that will grant us access to the restricted wing. I'll monitor your progress from here. Be cautious. The guards of this facility will attack anyone unfamiliar to them. But once you have the keycard and rift device, reconvene here, and we'll go together to the wing. Valancourt keeps all of the items he confiscates from the staff in a locked closet in his quarters. There may be something pertaining to the investigation within. I've already shared more with you than I ought have, but go ahead. That's an ugly way to describe a legitimate transfer of power. And if you're trying to bait me into expressing an opinion of my superiors, I assure you I will not. A technicality. He's inferior in every way that matters. The Interstitial Reconfiguration Center was created to continue researching into rifts, following a significant setback to our studies elsewhere. How do you know about that? That disaster and its link to the death of the Sovereign's family was not made public. No one outside of this facility is supposed to know of it. Regardless, even though Horizon Point's destruction did impede our progress for a time, we learned from it as well. We're now able to generate rifts safely within containment. Or we were. Due to the exacerbation of the greater rift recently, these lesser rifts became less stable. Some breaking containment or spawning outside of it altogether. In public, Henry has adopted the affectations of his father. In private, he is much more personable, though meddlesome too. Always wanting to be involved in the experiments. He becomes most animated when we discuss how matter might be reconstituted from the rifts. What was lost somehow returned. You could say he has a vested interest. His motivations are personal. All I am willing to say is that he is a man who loved his family very much and would move planets to see them again. He and the Consul were coats cut from the same stern cloth. Henry has never quite matched either of them, in terms of temperament or severity.
It's not every day that someone is fool enough to break into the Interstitial Reconfiguration Center. I'd be obliged if you would regale me with the tale of how you managed to get this far. A crude assessment and utterly untrue. I am perfectly accommodating to non-incompetence. I suspect you did not reach here unaided. So who was it? Which one of my undutiful brain boxes helped sponsor this little pilferage? You cannot fault me for trying. Well, there will be time to scrutinize every angle of this breach at a later date, once I have dealt with you. I could also reduce you to a state of quivering agony, begging for death. And that would be a lot more enjoyable for me, if I'm being candid. No matter. I will await you in the hangar, where bullets may fly more freely than words, if you survive that long.
You have an update, I hope. What? If that's true, we must act quickly. Anything on his terminal cannot be relied upon for long. We need proof we can hold in our hands. I'll lead us to the restricted wing now. Once there, reopen the rift using the modulator so we can begin searching for more irrefutable proof. You've discovered something? I knew it! I am absolved! And yet, I cannot possibly imagine what would have possessed him to deliberately endanger the Sovereign's life. It's unconscionable! I would characterize Valancourt as many vile and unmentionable things, but a traitor? No. The man cannot defecate without humming a Protectorate anthem. For all the time I've spent trying to unsnarl Valancourt's mercurial behavior, it seems there was yet more I did not know about him. Did you uncover anything else? I had heard rumors of the Sovereign's diminished popularity since the war began, but I scarcely trusted their veracity. That any subject should commit such an abominable offense against the Matriarch's own blood? It is nigh impossible to fathom. I think I'm beginning to understand exactly what happened here. But if you have any additional points of data, please share them. How did this go unnoticed during final checks? This is surely why the rift destabilized on us. You've provided more evidence than I could have hoped for. Thank you. Valancourt must have sought to curry favor with the Consul by eliminating the Sovereign and making space for the Consul to step into power. He sabotaged the machine, hoping the rift would perform his dirty work for him, and left me to suffer the repercussions. Our dear head of security has much to answer for. We need to go and confront Valancourt, now. I'm no longer willing to wait for the arc of justice to bend in my favor. Valancourt needs to die for what he's done. If I distract him, can I count on you to do the rest? I'll go first. Follow behind, but not too closely. We don't want him to see you. You should try to seal off the hangar, cutting him off from any reinforcements. There's a panel on the right side of the room. Activate it and it should close the doors. Or, if you're stealthy enough to reach the back of the hangar, there's a ladder up to some turrets, which you can deploy against Valancourt. Careful not to turn them on me too. I'll keep Valancourt talking so that you can get a good angle on him, but his patience isn't limitless, so be swift. Attack when ready. No need to wait for a signal from me. Oh, and there's also a rift in the hangar. An experimental byproduct, as it were. I would avoid interacting with it, lest you alert Valancourt to our ploy. Thus always to traitors. Morale will certainly improve in the lab now, I should think, provided Valancourt's replacement is not also an absolute Pilgarlic. I had prepared this trauma kit, but obviously that turned out to be an unnecessary precaution. Please, take it with my gratitude. I'm not sure murdering the head of security at a highly valued research facility makes the argument you think it does, but noted. Have no fear. No evidence of our little collaboration will survive. I'll see to it.
I'll admit, the coup caught me on the back foot. Always figured the Consul for a power snatcher, but I'd never put bits down on him betraying the Sovereign. They seem so tight-knit. Just think about all those posters of the pair of them that'll have to change now. A real crying shame. I'd say it's about as likely as a sprat learning the polka. The Sovereign's misfortune is our gain, as far as I'm concerned. The Consul might be projecting strength, but by my reckon, Protectorate's more unstable now than ever before.
It's strange how I ended up here after all my time with the cult. I think I knew it was a lie all along. I just felt such freedom, such excitement. Like nothing I'd felt before. But it was all hollow. Being free didn't give me purpose. It simply served to distract me. I guess I just wanted to say, the fact that you accepted me onto your crew means a lot. It feels like I have a home. So thank you. Not randomly, no. I'll follow your lead. Unless I feel you're being threatened. Can't have my commander killed, after all.
Well, of all the improbable sights I'd never imagined to actually see, folks simply wandering around the Badlands of Praetor would be near the top of that list. I've not the mind to solve the equation that demonstrates how unlikely it is you've survived enemy combatants, hostile critters, and endless lightning in near equal measure. Is that so? Amusingly enough, I'm inclined to believe you, which means you might be just the help Exemplar Simon's been waiting for. He is in the lab atop the hydraulicalized lift. Ironically, the lift was struck by lightning while the station was being reset and is stuck in its raised position. There is a trail that leads to the top. Just mind the jump onto the platform, and don't touch anything glowing, sparking, or obviously shedding lightning on your way there. And given the situation we find ourselves in, I'll be leaving the gate charged unless you're ready to pass through it. Just approach, and I'll power it down for you.
So, you're the mysterious individual that's caused such a stir across Arcadia? Well, it is my sincerest of pleasures to meet you. I am Exemplar Simon, head of research at this station. please consider me your personal conduit to this meager yet profound portion of the universal equation. How may I be of service? Originally, the Protectorate designed this facility to control those grounding towers, which are the only thing keeping Praetor's ceaseless lightning from turning us all into ash. And to be sure, that is the only reason Anti or the Protectorate haven't taken this place by force. They are rightly terrified of what happens if this station goes offline. However, neglect during this conflict led to Axon's shorting at 5 of the towers, causing gross misalignment. If they aren't realigned, the failures will catastrophically cascade. Wonderful. In order to recalibrate a tower, you must find the malfunctioning panel inside their control room and reset it. And to speed you along, I can offer a unique incentive. Prior to being driven from this facility, the Protectorate was exploring lightning-powered explosives. The concept was clearly beyond them, but I have already solved their errors. So with each tower you align, I can produce a batch of the explosives they theorized, and I would happily share them with you. Indeed. When aligned, each tower fills a capacitor I've modified, which provides me with enough electrical accumulation to fabricate a handful of these explosives. Unfortunately, the capacitors are only able to hold the charge for mere moments before failing catastrophically. Thus, I'm limited in production by the 5 capacitors that remain. So, for each tower you align, I am able to fabricate a handful of these electron explosives, the sum of which I shall share with you. That is fantastic news. I'll begin fabrication as soon as you've aligned each tower, and so I shall have the explosives ready for you upon your return.
Greetings, unaffiliated individual? Could you be a freelancer? A gun for hire? Might you be interested in a job involving the removal of dangerous creatures? Oh, this is so exciting. I can feel the rate of my blood flow increasing. In that case, please travel to the cave directly southeast of here and exterminate the infestation of raptidons. If you succeed and survive, I'll upgrade your basic entry permissions to allow for purchase of our surplus of supplies. You've returned. Are the raptidons vanquished? Have you completed the job? Oh, incredible. Then, as the prime requisitionist currently at this station, I confer to you upgraded permissions that allow for surplus supply purchases.
Interested in work, or was the allure of helping to advance science and being paid for it too much to resist? I'll get right to it then. I need someone to bring me a Gorvid egg. I'm a head biological researcher doing some fascinating and mighty important work with Gorvids. I sent my assistant off to the north with a tracking device, hoping he'd lay hands on a Gorvid egg. I desperately need that egg for my research. Could you bring me one? Oh, and bring back my assistant, too, if you find him with all his pieces still stuck together. He ain't much good for assisting in research if he's all torn up. Sound reasonable? Which of my assorted critters would you like to know about? We've got quite a pile of them here on Praetor. Excellent hunters, trackers, and shock troops. Extremely loyal, now that we have them on an all-meaty roll-ups diet. We tried them, and they were devastating for all of 12 hours. Then we found out the hard way that they're attracted to lightning, which I claim credit for discovering. Once all the queens got zapped, that was about it. There's no more real hives now, just a few wasps left in the mountains. Gorvids are absolutely fascinating. A sort of simian-avian hybrid, extremely deadly. Absolutely incredible physiology. I can't wait to have an egg. The thought of being the first person to catalog the process makes me positively giddy with excitement. The profits from my next few papers are going to be incredible. Guilty as charged. My job is studying which critters we can use to fight the Protectorate here on Praetor. Right now, it's mostly raptidons, which I'd be more than happy to talk on at length if you've an interest. Excellent. Which ones? Something else, then? I sent him off with a tracking device to find a Gorvid egg. He might be out of his depth. Can you find him and bring him and the egg, or at least the egg, back for me? Almost definitely a lethal encounter with a Gorvid, ending in brutal dismemberment. That's what happened to my other 5 assistants. I know. You're absolutely right. I should have held one back to do all the grunt work. Now I have to take apart my own research station. What was I thinking? We found signs of Gorvid activity. I sent him off in hopes he could put a tracker on a Gorvid. Then we could follow it back to its nest. Should be just north from here.